The waves on Lake Superior don't just break, they detonate. On the night of November 10, 1975, the waters stopped behaving like a surface and started behaving like force. You hear it before you see it, hard, blunt impacts against steel, over and over, like heavy doors slamming down a long corridor. The cold doesn't stay in the air, it gets inside you. Breath turns to short white clouds and disappears into the storm. On the bridge of the Arthur M. Anderson, Captain Bernie Cooper stares through a window that gives him no horizon, only snow and spray. The radar sweeps in steady green, trying to hold on to a shape that should be ahead, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, 729 feet of steel, loaded heavy, a familiar name on routes that feel routine, until they don't. The radio crackles, a brief hiss, then a voice that isn't trying to be heroic, it's trying to be useful. The voice of Captain Ernest McSorley, calm, economical, the kind of voice that doesn't waste words when time gets expensive. He says, "We are holding our own." A short time later, a wave slams into the Anderson with brutal force. The snow thins for a heartbeat, and then the radar searches again and finds nothing. No Mayday, no distress call, no reply. How can a ship of 26,000 tons with 29 men aboard vanish so fast? Tonight, on Salt and Silence, we're reconstructing that final voyage using historical records, eyewitness accounts, and marine logs to answer 3 questions. What was deteriorating before the silence? Why there may not have been time for a distress call, and what the evidence suggests about the final moments. And before we go further, if you have a connection to the Great Lakes through family, work, a port town, or a personal memory, share it in the comments. When those stories surface, these names stop being a footnote. They become people again. The Fitzgerald was launched in 1958, in a period when American industry built big and spoke loud. She was designed to run near the limits of the Great Lakes system, long, efficient, celebrated. A freighter that crossed the same routes again and again, carrying ore and expectations, until she became a symbol, not because of romance, because of scale. But the Great Lakes aren't gentle just because they're inland. Lake Superior, especially, can build short, steep waves that hit with frequency and violence. For a fully loaded hull, that matters. For a ship already dealing with water where it doesn't belong, it matters even more. There's a particular kind of respect that comes from working these waters. Not theatrical fear, practical memory. The lake teaches. These weren't characters, they were working men. Picture what exists on a ship in heavy weather, the constant groan of the hull, the smell of oil and metal, the uneven heat from one compartment to the next, coffee that's never really good, but it's hot, damp gloves, cracked hands, boots striking the deck with that sound of water trapped in leather. In each bunk, there are small things that never show up in a report. A photo folded inside a plastic sleeve, a short note tucked deep in a bag, a name written in a notebook. One man had a call to make when they got in. Another promised he'd bring something home. Someone was saving to finish a renovation. Someone just wanted to run one more trip and get back to his own rhythm. When the storm grows, nobody thinks, "I'm about to become history." They think about the next procedure, the next line, the next adjustment.
And that's how you should hear the last sentence on the radio, not as a dramatic line, but as discipline. We are holding our own. Not bravado, a man trying to keep life functioning for a few more minutes. That final run began under an illusion. A stretch of weather that felt out of place for November can look like relief, but on the lakes, it often reads as warning. When the shift comes, it comes fast, and ordinary decisions, route, speed, load, suddenly carry a steep price. The Fitzgerald was carrying taconite pellets, heavy weight, heavy inertia, the kind of cargo that doesn't forgive you when water starts getting in, because every extra ton steals margin, steals options. The crew was a mix of experience and youth. Captain McSorley had a reputation for bringing the ship through hard conditions. That doesn't automatically mean recklessness. It means familiarity with the edge. And sometimes familiarity can blur how close the edge really is. Accounts indicate that as conditions worsened, the ship began taking damage topside, protective railings torn away, openings exposed, components designed to keep water out no longer doing their job. The point isn't one isolated detail, it's accumulation.
When water gets into a large ship, the danger isn't only how much, it's where it goes and how it moves. In heavy seas, water can become a shifting mass, stealing stability. A ship can develop a list, and a list isn't cosmetic, it's data. It's the hull telling you balance has changed. There are also reports that the radar failed. In snow and spray, that's not a nuisance, that's blindness. The world stops being space and becomes a white wall. And there's a sound that shows up in moments like this, a low, deep groan of metal under strain. It isn't loud, it's heavy. It comes up through the soles of your boots and turns into certainty. The steel is working at the limit. The soul of iron under stress doesn't show itself in sparks, it shows itself in persistence. Sailors on Superior have long described sets of unusually large waves arriving in sequence. The threat isn't just height, it's timing. A ship may absorb a massive hit and recover, but when the second and third arrive before recovery, the deck can take water with a speed and volume that pushes the situation into a new category. This is the kind of night where things don't fail one by one, they fail together. And when everything degrades at once, there's no room for performance, there's only work. When the Anderson asked how they were handling their problems, McSorley answered calmly, "That doesn't mean everything was fine. It means he was doing what captains do, cutting noise, keeping focus on procedure. We are holding our own."
The question that follows is unavoidable. Why no Mayday? A documentary reading doesn't require mystery, it requires coherence. A distress call requires a clear recognition of imminent collapse, a decision, access to the radio, and a few seconds of minimal stability. If the final event was abrupt, and if the crew was fully engaged trying to keep the ship navigable, it's plausible there simply wasn't a window. In that case, the silence isn't romantic, it's lack of time. Months later, the wreck was located in deep water. The Fitzgerald lay in sections, consistent with extreme forces acting on a hull already under stress. Decades later, at the request of families, a bronze bell was recovered and replaced with another. That isn't trivia, it's human. When there's no rescue, people look for some form of closure, a symbol, a place for grief to rest. Each year, the bell rings 29 times, once for each man. The tragedy shaped debates, practices, and change, but the core remains. Lake Superior doesn't need intention to be unforgiving. It simply is what it is, and on certain nights, that's enough. Thank you for watching. Now I want a simple answer in the comments, and I pin the best ones. In your view, was the Fitzgerald's end more waves or more structure? Comment only waves or structure, and if you want, add one sentence explaining why. If this style of documentary reconstruction works for you, subscribe, not for impulse, for continuity. There are other stories that still need a voice. May Lake Superior keep its secrets, and may the 29 rest in peace.